This morning I was looking out the little cottage window. I saw the beauty of the snow and the freshness of the morning and the sun shining. A very different kind of scene than I would see in Seattle. I was just appreciating it, letting some tenderness in, and a pileated woodpecker came by and landed on a tree and started drilling holes. And I thought, oh, just in that quiet, I said, this is love. This is love. You know, many of us are very sophisticated in our practice. We know how to apply the appropriate remedy when there's a seeming problem or difficulty within our meditation technique. And that sense of mastery, of what to do when, is, of course, it's important. It's important in how to work with the mind. But anything that we can master is not the truth. The truth masters us. And what I mean by that is that if you can control it, you can delegate it, make it work a certain way. If it's under our control, then it's not the truth, because simply the truth cannot be controlled. And like the scene out when I gazed out in the window, there is no control of love. Love comes in like the tide and determines the disposition. And then the actions from love are also under its empowerment. Compassion moves on its own. It isn't a predetermined action. It isn't a mastery. And I think sometimes we stay too long under the gaze, under the profile of our own sophistication, of our own empowerment, and not give ourselves over to the practice of love. Some of us can be so technique-oriented, so programmed to do and act in a wise and skillful way, that we don't let the practice touch us deeply and move us, which is really the whole of the practice. If this were about mastery, it would be about the continuation of the same theme that most of us have been running within our whole life. This is changing records, you might say. And because some of us are so experienced and so proficient at being able to do and work the technique that we may not sense how to open ourselves beyond the technique. So what I would suggest is for us to use the outdoors as a beautiful example of how to do just that. And so when our eyes light upon something that is beautiful, that inspires, that brings awe or mystery or wonder, to just stop there for a moment. Forget the technique. Drop it. Drop the meditation. And just let that sensitivity touch our hearts. the newly fallen snow, the ice crystals, the slight movement of the leaves in wind, or the feeling of the warmth of the sun on our shoulders, or just the coolness of the air itself. Rather than propelling us into an action that counters the cold. Or we don't have time to see that beauty, I have to get back to meditate. To stay there for a moment, to let it in, to really feel what love is, to let it touch us. That is meditation, without purpose, without aim, without direction. And then, having awakened the stirrings of love, we can bring that love into our formal sitting. By feeling the continuation of that sensitivity, of the willingness just to feel in its most nuanced way whatever is arising, with the same sensitivity and grace that we saw the pileated woodpecker. The warmth of the sun on our shoulders. We have allowed life to get in, not through a narrow opening we call our practice, but throwing the shutters wide open. This is life coming in all of its manifestation. And from time to time to be able to stir that same relationship with whatever we're seeing through the door of sensitivity and awe and mystery. Saying to ourselves when we feel a little off, a little annoyed or cantankerous or frustrated, is there love for this too? And immediately, is there love for this too, reframes the issue, not as problematic, not as something to get over and on with so that my practice can continue in the way I perceive it needs to continue, but with the shutters wide open. Everything goes here. And is there love for this too? And if there is, the argument will cease. If the shutters are wide open and not narrowly focused, then the argument will cease. It is when our meditations have a particular point and purpose that the argument does not cease. Because it's supposed to be quiet, I'm supposed to be steady, it's supposed to be concentrated, it's supposed to be calm, and it's not. That's a very narrow objective. But if the shutters are wide open, is there love for this too? Then nothing is excluded within that love. Nothing is out of place as an argument. Nothing is in contrast or in contention with that love. Is there love for this too?